Custom agents have officially dropped, and today I'm actually going to show you how to create one of the most popular custom agents that probably most people are going to want to have. And that is look at my calendar, add these meetings to my meeting database, and add some agendas. So let's go ahead and watch how we do this here. Okay, so before we dive in super deep, I want to kind of create you a list of things you're going to want to check off. So when you are trying to create your agent, your custom agent, these are some questions or some things you want to think about before you start to build it, right? So just think about these things. What are you trying to get it to accomplish? And keep this very simple starting off, right? Build maybe one workflow. This is a great example. This workflow I'm going to take you through in this video is a great example of very simple. Look at my calendar, look at my meeting tracker, see if there's meetings in there. If not, add them, right? And then relate to the people that are necessary. Simple, right? So keep it very simple to start off and then build upon it as you go along. This is just a Notion rule in general that you're going to want to have. So goal number one is figure out what the actual goal is, right? What do you want it to accomplish? Write it out. Okay. Then the next thing is what it does and what it does not do. I will write those things out. So what it does do is it does go and add meetings to my meeting tracker. What it does not do, go and add meetings to my notes tracker, which is completely different. My notes is like my binder right here, where I'm just writing random notes, right? But my meetings is where I'm actually managing my meetings and adding meeting notes. So I want it to know the differences. Mainly say what you do, and that's the most important thing. Okay. So source of truth, what databases or pages is it going to link to? The best thing about it is you can just actually press the add symbol and mention that database right there. So here is my database to my content. I can go ahead and link it in the instructions that you're going to see in the video later. Okay. And then rules, right? So if this happens, then that needs to happen, right? So make sure to identify priorities of what you want, right? So one of them is if there's already a meeting that looks the same, then do not add another meeting, right? Just go ahead and skip it or tell it what you want it to do instead. Okay. Okay, so permissions. What permissions does it have access to, right? And you'll be able to see that once you save it. You'll be able to see the permissions show up where the database is. Does it edit or does it change any content or does it just view it only? You'll be able to do the permissions on its own, but make sure that it's very clear in the instructions what is getting edited, what properties are getting changed, etc. Okay, questions. So what it should ask when information is missing. Give it questions to kind of run down and get the information. Give it places where that information would live. So for example, if I wanted to relate the actual client or the lead profile, well, where is it going to find it and how does it know? So I tell it from the calendar link or from the meeting in the calendar or from my emails, look to see their name and their email and see if you find that in the lead tracker. See if you find that in the client profiles, right? If you do see it there, then that's probably the same person and you can relate that person, right? Give it ways to solve its solution. Okay. And then output the exact format. So for me, for my meetings, I wanted to use the AI meeting block. I wanted to actually put the content and the agenda in the AI meeting block. So I tell it those are exact instructions and how I want it to be laid out, right? So these are some key things that you're going to want to have. Feel free to copy this and just walk through this whole entire process, right? But these are important things you're going to want to know to create that frame. And then once we have kind of know what we're going to do, we're going to actually just paste it in the instructions for the agent and then press enter and it's going to be able to do all that. So we're going to see that next of how I do that to create this meeting concierge. So this is Mo, and Mo takes my calendar and looks at all of the meetings I'm going to be having, whether it's a discovery call or calls with my clients and stuff like that. And it takes that and it creates meetings in my meeting database. From there, it looks at all of my information, their profiles, because each lead and each client gets a profile card with their information. It looks at all of what we've been doing together, whether it's other meetings, and it kind of creates an agenda of what we're going to be talking about for that day. And as long as I keep up with that information, Mo kind of knows what to do as far as kind of adding an agenda. Of course, it takes a little bit of tweaks and stuff like that and asking what you actually want in those meetings, but it creates that for me. So what's cool is once you set up your custom agent, you are going to be able to see a running log of every single time that it has done the work. Okay, so I can click in here and I can see the whole breakdown of exactly the workflow of what it did. It tells me when it ran, it tells me what the results were, what meetings it created. It also told me what database, and I can go and actually check out. So let's see what it did with this meeting. So it says that this is a strategy meeting. The session overview is 30-minute strategy meeting, current project and priorities and stuff like that. Cool. And then we have another meeting with Jasmine, which is going to be really dope. I'm excited about. They want a custom system. So this is kind of what we're going to be kind of talking about. And what's cool is like I can still come in here and make edits, right? But this is a good flow. And it has linked the lead profile of this person and also any tasks that I've done, which was just prep for my meetings. Okay. So that's overall what we're going to kind of build out today. So let's reverse engineer kind of what Mo does. Okay. All right. So first things first, we're going to want to go to your workspace and you're going to want to go to your menu section. So actually, this is the more updated workspace and menu section. So yours may not look like this yet, but if you toggle on, there should be a button like toggle on to try the new workspace, you'll be able to toggle that on for yourself and it'll look kind of like this. But regardless, you'll see a section called agents, right? And this is where all of your agents will be housed. Okay, so you'll be able to click into each one of them. As you see, I have 4 of them, and they do really great things. And you'll be able to press this plus sign. So this plus sign will take you to how to create an agent. You can use templates if you want to. I will be dropping some templates. This will be one of them to actually use, but it's really simple. So what you're going to do is just tell this system what you want to create. So what I want to create is I would like you to check my calendar and email. So I want both. Okay? An email for upcoming meetings and recent meetings. And then I want for every meeting found. And this is where you're going to list exactly what you want. Check if it already exists in meetings, meeting tracker for the day. And then another thing is duplicates. So you're going to want to say avoid duplicates because what if you were moving ahead of time or your assistant was moving ahead of time or whatever the case may be, and you actually got it in. You don't want duplicates because you'll find yourself kind of starting to work in both of them, and that's never good. You just want them to add what is necessary. And then you can say, if new, create a meeting page in the meeting tracker base. And then generate. What's cool is like you can also have it like generate your meeting AI in the body of the meeting note in the meeting page and add the agenda to the meeting. Another thing I would like is relate the meeting to relevant profile, the lead tracker for clients, because these are the main people that I meet with, right? So this is a really good way to just give it the exact instructions that you would like to do, right? All right, so now that we've done that, now we can say, another thing we want it to do is maybe you have certain types of titles of meetings that you want it to be labeled and what type it falls under in the meeting. So sometimes you have a strategy call, sometimes you have a discovery call, sometimes you have negotiation calls, you have client calls, and you have different types of meeting titles and stuff like that that you want it to be labeled. You want those things to be synced so that it knows what status to use. Okay. So for example, I'm just going to take this really quickly and kind of just add this in here. Look for these keywords in meeting titles to determine the type property for the meetings. Okay. So a discovery call, right? You want to do type discovery. If the title is coffee chat, you're going to want to do sales. If it's a strategy meeting, you're going to want to have the type strategy. If it's delivery, you want to do production, right? Whatever you would like it to be. Maybe a delivery meeting is delivery, right? Cool. So next, if you have any more, you can go ahead and add those things in there, like member session. I have member session. It does for clients. What's next? So then we go and we want to generate the actual agenda, right? Because it doesn't know exactly how you want to create your agendas. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and just kind of add this in here so we can speed this up as much as possible. So for each meeting, create an agenda section in the meeting body, right? So one, identify the meeting type. That's going to let you know what we're about to do. So if it's a client, then you're probably going to go to the client profile. You're going to go to the meetings and stuff, right? There's a different workflow. So identify what meeting type it is. Search for previous meetings with the same person / people. Check if that person is in my lead tracker or client tracker. Using all the context to generate a relevant agenda with key topics to cover, right? A follow up from the previous meeting, if any, right? And then we want to do a relevant background of the client, right? Or lead. So then I know kind of what we're talking about, right? Cool. If you want to edit what those 3 things are, that's totally fine. This is what we're going to have in the agenda. Next is always include the agenda. So what I like is I like for my meetings to be in the actual AI meeting block. So I say always include the agenda in the meetings AI block in the meetings page. So I'm telling it again to be like specify where to place the agenda. Okay, so then how does it know? Because we have to think about the roles and we have to set it up for success. So relating profiles, right? So how does it know how to relate the profiles? Where does it go get that stuff, right? So I'm going to come here and I'm going to add this also, right? Main thing you want to do is think about what the workflow is. Think about what is the step-by-steps you want it to do. And if I need it to be successful, what information do I need it to be successful? Relating the profiles for this meeting, the way you can find those things is you can search the lead tracker for the attendee's name. If you're searching for a client profile, you can search the client tracker for the attendee's name or email. And then you can add the appropriate related profiles to the meeting page, right? So relate them. I like to use the word relate. It seems like it knows that better than link, because if it links, it'll take the URL and add it to the body of the page. If you use the word relate, it actually relates it like the property. So I find that that's really helpful when you use those instructions. And then another thing is to things to avoid. I kind of tell it what things to avoid. Um, So here is that. So things to avoid. And I would take these sections, honestly, rinse and repeat these for each one of your agents, for each one of the agents that you're looking to build with. So before creating a meeting, queue up the meeting tracker and check if there's any meetings already existing. So do that first before you even start running anything, right? Check the dates and properties and times. If a duplicate exists, skip it, right? Only create a meeting if it's genuinely new, right? So if you wanted to add anything else to that it needs to avoid, you go ahead and add it into that section, right? So this is pretty much good to go. If you really want to get very specific, I will also link all the databases that it would be working with, especially if you have a very big, robust workspace and you have a lot of different databases and stuff like that. I would actually place an area where you just link the URLs to all the databases. But I don't necessarily have to do that. It kind of goes and finds those things for me, which is really, really cool. So I just press this blue button, right? So once I press the blue button, then the profile and the settings area for this agent gets to going and gets created, right? So it starts to think, and you can see down here that is dating. So what you are going to see here is on this side, we can kind of, let's really start to discuss what's on this side. What's on this side is settings. So you'll be able to see triggers. When is it going to trigger? And you can add those things in here. So you can say that it does it daily at 7 a.m. It kind of does that for you if you don't put a time, but you can always change it, right? So you can change it to every day, once a week, once a month, right? It starts when. Very much like reoccurring. Same type of process when you're trying to create a reoccurring task or a reoccurring template in any of your databases, right? So that's what's going to be created here. Also, you can mention when an agent is mentioned in Notion. You can toggle that on. So if you say at whatever your agent's name is, so or at meeting concierge, right? Or you can change it to mode like how I did mine, or whatever the case may be. It will start to run, and then you can manually run it yourself. So you can click it and run it yourself, right? And then here, as you see, the instructions actually go down here. So you'll see everything that we wrote here. It writes it out for you in your instructions. So it didn't have to be as neat and curated as you saw it. You could have just had a conversation and it would have tried to create the instructions as best as possible, right? But you want to be really clear of what you want. I will read over this and make sure this is exactly what you want. You can open it up further and be able to see exactly what it did. And then web access. If it needs web access because it's doing research or something like that, you want to toggle that on. This one doesn't need web access. It needs access to, and you can see those databases. So if I link those databases here, it would just plug them here. But as you see, it kind of knew exactly what to do. So it knew to grab my meeting tracker, my meeting database, right? And you can go to can edit content, but you can change the accesses that it has, but you want it to be can edit because it's going to be adding meetings. You want it to be can edit content because it's going to be relating lead trackers, right? Or lead profiles. Something that is missing is the client database, right? Those are the three databases that is going to be connecting. So this is why you probably want to write out what databases are going to be included as your last thing so that you can have a remembrance of what it's going to be. So clients, MT, this kind of helps me find my stuff. Labeling is very important, right? So, and I want to say can edit. Can you give that access? So these are the three things that I would like it to have access to. It also has access to my calendar. So you're going to want to make sure that you link your Notion calendar. You're going to want to make sure that you also link your Notion mail, right? And make sure that this is the proper email that needs to be connected. You can also set what type of model you want to use, which is really cool. And then down here is advancements if you need to link any other URLs that need to be linked here, right? So once this is good to go, I can run this test and see exactly what it's going to do. And it will start to run this for me. So this is good to go here, and everything is set up and we can press save. And if we wanted to run the test and we wanted to actually test it out, we can wait till 7 a.m. the next day because it's a daily situation or not. If you want to rename your custom agent, you can go ahead and do that. So you can call it Sam, right? Or whatever the case may be. You can change the icons, which is really cool. So get really creative and design it how you want. And what's cool is that kind of matches the background will match what color you kind of change it to and stuff like that. So that's really cool. And if you ever want to get back to your settings here, most of the time when you start to walk in, you'll see that Sam will be on the left side. How you get back to it is you just click into it and it will show up on this page. And then you can actually have conversations with Sam. hey, where are we with this meeting? Hey, did you add this week's meeting? Whatever questions you may have. Or you can honestly make edits. So I'm going to show you kind of what's been going on in a second. And then settings, what is cool is like you can get back to your settings. If you need to make any edits, that's great. You can also talk to your agent and they can make edits for you, right? And if you want to start a new chat, you can click new chat here and start a new chat with them. So this is good to go. So I'm going to actually delete this agent because this was just a copy for you guys to learn how I kind of created Mo. And I noticed that Mo has been adding meetings that have not been adding in it to the meeting AI prompt. So I actually want to ask it why. So I'm going to say, hey Mo, thanks for the hard work, right? I noticed that you are not adding the agenda and notes and content for the meetings in a Notion meeting AI block. Why is that? Right? I'm going to be very clear, like, right? And you can have this conversation with your agent and it will talk to you. Okay. Because that's what I want. I want naturally the AI agent to show up, the AI block to show up because it shows up differently when my meeting comes. I could just press start. But if I have to add the block in there, that's going to be annoying, right? So I'm going to say, it says back to me, right? Great catch. The issue is actually in my own instructions. There's a formatting error where the meeting notes block sync is written like this, right? So it's telling you what's wrong, which is not valid. The correct Notion block sync is this type of bracket because of the typo, I wasn't rendering it as an actual AI meeting notes block. I need to update that instructions. Great, cool. And then it says continue to the agent settings for the agent. Cool. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's see if it'll actually, okay, so then it goes ahead and it starts to update. So you can see that it's updating the instructions. I like to toggle this on because I want to see exactly what you're doing, what you're changing, right? A lot of people have a lot of fear about things changing other different pages. Well, what's great is that you can toggle these things down and actually see what it is changing, right? So it says good catch. And they found the culprit, which is the typo. And it says, I fixed the instructions to the correct blocks structure starting. So show changes, and it takes you right to what changed, right? Which is really great. I'm glad that Notion has kind of added that feature of show the changes. Great. Okay. Okay, great. And we go through my meetings for this week and date everything to be in the meeting AI block. Right? Because this is a great question of like, will it go and work on your behalf? Maybe instructions that it's not used to, or do I have to go to Willow and ask Willow, which is more of my personal assistant? So I'm actually interested. We're learning this together, right? So let's go ahead and see. So it says I found 13 meetings this week, right? Booked and blessed over here, and cool, cool. Let's see. Let me view all of them and see what content they currently have. So it's viewing it. And if you see here, it says there's already a meetings notes blocked, but additionally content below. Cool. So I actually want to see what it's doing here. So it's saying there's already a meeting, but I just threw down some extra fathoms that was included so that I can add it. Great. I wonder if it's going to make any changes to that. And then we have planning meeting. That was in the past. That was in the past. We already had those meetings. So it's just doing its research. So it says for entry without the meeting notes block, it's listed all the ones that don't have the meeting notes block. Awesome. So I know for a fact this one doesn't have one. I would like that block to be in there with this content in there. Okay, so it says, got it. Here's what I see across the 13 meetings. You already have meeting blocks for these people, meeting notes block for these people. And we need meeting blocks for these meetings right here. So that's correct. So it says all meetings are now consistent. Here's a summary of what was done. They wrapped up the meeting notes block to all of these situations. They added a recording link here, and this note, so it's telling me everything it needs to do. I can go to show changes. So it literally took all of the content that was in here and added it to the block. So when this meeting comes, a button will show up and says start recording. I can just click start record. If it wasn't in this block already, I would have to have gone and manually do the / meeting AI and actually include it in there. So I'm so glad I did that. It did it correct. I want to thumbs it up. I want to tell it great job for making the edits and fixing your instructions. Boom. Perfect. Good to go, right? If it did something I didn't want it to do, I can easily, just like copy this title and say, hey, please undo what you did for this particular page, or I could undo the whole entire thing completely. If you didn't like it, please make sure to thumbs down. If you want to just copy this response and send it over, you can go ahead and do that. Once you feel good to go about this, you're good. So today what we kind of covered is how can we create a custom agent that actually goes and looks at our calendar and our emails and create us meeting notes, right? From there, if we wanted to actually edit some things maybe our agent is not doing, we actually have learned a little bit about that and how to just have a conversation with your agent. And your agent can also help you figure out what's going on and how to fix it. And then go and fix the problem, right? Really, really dope. Love what we're doing here with custom agents. If you want more videos like this, give this a thumbs up, right? Comment below what you think and what agents you've created. We're actually going to be having a workshop where we're going to build out our AI agent on March 3rd. So the link of that will be down below. And also, in my business here at Merkaba, we actually have memberships. So if you're looking for some more support where you don't want to go and build by yourself, right? You're tired of building by yourself and you want to kind of just join a membership with other people that are building in their business, we actually have the Notion Plug Network where you can come in and there are office hours that you can come to twice a week and get some, twice a month, where you can get some support. You can also join the Power It Up plan where it gives you a 30-minute one-on-one with one of the Notion consultants and you can get that one-on-one support. Also, we have office hours for automations that you'll be able to come to. So if you want to automate things in your workspace, you can go ahead and come to those office hours. And then there is co-working and also some add-on services if you'd like. But the bread and butter of this whole entire thing is that you get access to all of the templates that I have created. So there's meeting notes, tasks, leads, all those different types of things in this membership that you get for free, right? Or you get in this membership. And so I wanted to create a space for people who are looking to build slowly like Lego blocks, not looking for a fast build because those are more custom, but more so like, hey, let me just add in meetings and really learn about the workflow and come to office hours and get support and learn about Notion more in a slower pace. And then from there, you can cancel at any time. So once you get the support that's necessary, you do not have to stay. So this is the plugged up membership. There are 3 different tiers. The plugged in is $20 where you don't get the one-on-ones. Powered up, you get the one-on-one. Fully charged, you actually get multiple one-on-ones, and we, Merkaba, builds out your own custom situation for you. So feel free to join that. Those links will be below. And thank you for coming. Peace.